Okay, so if we want to start just with the first prompt, where we talk about how faculty will try to use instructional designers to win battles against their colleagues, we were supposed to answer that by telling what questions we have about this. So do you want to share your thoughts first?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, that's really true. You, as an instructional designer, these are kind of battles you get caught up in. So, what kind of questions would I have? Transforming a program from a face-to-face online program require a number of resources. So, I would want to find out, do we have the resources for this whole process of migrating this graded program to fully online program? Then I would also want to know, do we have the expertise, more specifically the IT expertise to do this? As an instructional designer, well, I might be good in my side, but I need the help of an information technology expert who would guide me on the viability of this migration.
Yeah, I agree completely there. I think I talked more about that whenever I was talking about who I would pull in. One of my questions regarding the first prompt would be how are decisions made at the university, and if there was a problem solving model, because I think that it's important that everybody's issue or concern gets the same amount of attention as someone else's. And if there's a problem solving model, I think it would be important to know what that was.
Yeah, and so as I read through this reading, I think one of the professors was concerned about issues of copyright and intellectual property rights. I thought that's also something really very important. I would also consider, do we have people with expertise in addressing such issues? I mean, given that a graded program is one where content keeps changing so fast, depending on what's really new out there, I think we need somebody with that expertise as well to guide the whole process.
I agree. Did you have anything else you wanted to add for the first prompt?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay, for the second one, missing partners who should be part of the story and who you would seek to pull in. Whenever I was working on this, I was kind of looking at if I were the instructional designer in this case, the people that I would want on my team. So I think obviously John and Ray are both going to be there. I think the administration would be important to have on the team. And then we already have faculty, which would be the people who were the subject matter experts.
Right.
I think an IT specialist, like you had mentioned earlier, is someone who's needed on the team. I also suggested that I would want a multimedia specialist. Okay. And then we already know that we have a student who is involved with the process. So those are the people that I thought would be important on the team. Did you have anybody else you thought would be needed?
You have really picked all the people I was also thinking about. So for the administration, definitely somebody with a finance perspective of the whole thing needs to come into picture, because this move basically involves a cost. So if I was an instructional designer, I don't think I would really come up with the decisions not knowing what the finance or the budget, whether there's a budget for that kind of move.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the administration and I think the IT specialist a lot of times has a big play in what budget is available for the different projects. So I think when I met with the administration, like you said, that's something that I would discuss. I also was reading, and I think that it's important for the faculty to have a good relationship with the instructional designer and the instructional designer's team. So maybe I would discuss with the administration that there would be some sort of incentive there for the faculty to really work with the instructional designer to promote that positive collaboration that's going to be needed for the transformation between it all.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I know the situation. I think from the reading, there was somebody who didn't seem to be positive about the whole move because they look at time being a factor. And well, unless that relationship is developed, definitely there'll be bottlenecks in achieving such a project.
Mm-hmm. I think there was one more thing. I was trying as I went through to address all of the faculty's concerns, and I know Eliza's concern was about having intellectual property and copyrights, and I think that that's something that, as John, I would bring that up to the administration and discuss that. That way I could go back to Eliza and tell him what the administration said about her thoughts and concerns.
Okay, sure. I think that's really good. So at this point, do you think you'd pull in your entire team of instruction designers or something as the lead project manager? You'd really go back and brainstorm with your team?
I thought first that maybe John would want to meet with everyone. So like I had like a special, like in my little notes here, I have that John would maybe have a meeting with the administration like we just talked about, a meeting with Ray, a meeting with the IT specialist, a meeting with the multimedia specialist, and a meeting with the students involved before he had them all together as a team. So I thought as he met with each of his team members or a group of team members, that he would ask them maybe to come up with a time frame for what they see their needs in the project being. And then once he had met with all of them, then they could all come to the meeting and then work together as a whole team to create a timeline and discuss how long it'll take, because like as we were talking about a little bit earlier, it's going to be difficult to make that transformation in a short amount of time.
That's right. Well, so we tackle the recommendation. I mean, what would we recommend to if we were John?
Well, going back just a little bit, sorry, I think that one of the meetings that I had made up would be for him to meet with the TLC coordinator and maybe discuss using some faculty to provide support for the concerned faculty. And I know in the case study, it mentioned Bob Campbell, who was his original job was to kind of help some of the older staff and faculty migrate from an old LMS to a new one. So this seems like something that he would do well at for this project as well. So I think that maybe he could discuss pulling him in to help some of the staff feel a little more comfortable with the transition.
Yeah,
so that's something I would do.
I also found it interesting. I mean, the faculty who were, would I say, worried about like the break in the link between them and their students. I know that's really what the traditional system is. So this whole project moving to an online, definitely some of the resistance coming from faculty would be based on that. So if I were John, I think the E should just basically try to educate the faculty, especially those, about how they can have an online learning where basically there will still be that link between them and the student, and maybe brainstorm with them what learning activities they can have in an online version that really keep that the link still running.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. That's kind of some of the other people that we had talked about were the IT specialist and multimedia specialist. And in John's meeting with them, I suggested maybe that he would, with the IT specialists, discuss maybe a workshop on using technology basics for faculty like Michael, who feels like he's computer illiterate. That way he could learn some more things and feel more comfortable with the transition as well as discussing the different programs and budgets and things like that. And then with the multimedia specialist, I thought that he could discuss figuring out a way to hold a workshop with a focus of how to use multimedia learning and still hold on to that pedagogy that faculty like William are so attached to with the face-to-face interactions with his students, to maybe kind of put him at ease a little bit with that, to see that you can use an online format and still have that back and forth between the professor and the students.
And another thing that I think, if I were John, or if I were to recommend John, would be this being something new he's doing for the first time, and actually something he's doing for the first time within the institution. I would want this to take place in phases.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to roll out the entire project at a go. I think, like most in software development, the approach that they use would be called the waterfall approach. This is where you're setting up phases. So in each of the phases, you have a gate, and that gate would be like where you check whether your objectives in that phase have been accomplished before you can move to the next one. You don't want to move 5 phases down the project, then you realize you missed something in the second phase and you have to go back to the second phase. So with this kind of project as well, I would definitely look at it from that kind of approach of management.
I agree. I think that would go along really nicely to be able to come up with a timeline together and then plug those phases into a timeline so that things were done in a certain order, but also in a timely manner as well.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm okay with it, so.
Okay, sounds good to me. It was good discussing this with you.
All right, sure. All right, so you'll post it.
Yep, I'll post it.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Godfrey.
All right.